Hortensia was born around 70 to 60 BCE and grew up in a wealthy household. She was raised on a villa set atop a high hill with her father Quintus Hortensius. Her mother was apparently by her father's first wife Lucidia. Her father was well known among Romans for his sermons on history and law. Hortensia was tutored as a child, learning about Latin and Greek literature as well as music and history. It was during this time her tutors discovered her natural talent for speaking. Most women in this time were not educated, but her father was well known for his talent of speaking and decided to educate his daughter. Hortensia is also believed to have been married to her second cousin, Quintus Capeo. She was left a widow when he died in 67 BC. She had a daughter, Servilia, and an adopted son, Marcus Brutus. He was her husband's sister's child. Later in life, she concentrated on studying rhetoric by reading speeches of her father and other prominent Greek orators. Hortensia was known for her speech against the taxation of women without representation. Julius Caesar was assassinated and he made his nephew, Gaius Octavius, the heir to his throne. At this time, the most powerful man in Rome was Mark Antony. These two men joined together along with Marcus Lepidus to create the Second Triumvirate. These men were at war with the assassins of Julius Caesar. In order to fund the war, the men sold the property of the wealthy citizens that they killed or banished from Rome. The money they collected was not lucrative enough to fund the war, so the Second Triumvirate decided they were going to tax the 1,400 wealthiest women in Rome. Most of these women were the wives of the enemy or of the men who were killed or banished. The women were furious about being taxed. They decided they were going to go to the wives of the Second Triumvirate. Octavian's sister and Antony's mother agreed with the women, but Antony's wife was not willing to side with these women. She threw them out of the house. The women decided they were going to go to the Roman Forum and protest this tax. Hortensia was chosen to make the speech because of her father being a well-known orator. This is shocking to many people because during times of war, women are supposed to stay inside the house. Hortensia begins her speech with letting the Second Triumvirate know that she went to the women of their families. She tells them that they never wronged them in any way, and if they did wrong them, that they should just be banished like the men of their families have. She states she did not vote for them, so they should be exempt from paying the tax. Women in this time did not have the right to vote, therefore they were not obligated to pay taxes. She also claims women should not pay the tax because they cannot take part in government or be in the military. She states that the money from the tax will be used foolishly and they refuse to fund a civil war. If the tax will be used to fund a war against enemies, they would have no problem paying. She states that the women have contributed in times of need. Their mothers paid taxes when the government was being threatened, but not with their land or dowries, but with their jewelry. They were also not forced to pay. They gave up their jewelry under their own will in order to help the government. If the women were to have their land and dowries taken from them, they would not be able to survive. Even the tyrants didn't tax the women, so they should not be taxed now. She is telling the Second Triumvirate that they are worse than tyrants, and this angered the men. Hortensia's speech. As was appropriate for women like ourselves when addressing a petition to you, we rushed to your womenfolk. But we did not get the treatment we were entitled to from Fulvia, and we have been driven by her into the forum. You have already stolen from us our fathers and sons and husbands and brothers by your prescriptions, on the grounds that they have wronged you. But if you also steal from us our property, you will set us into a state unworthy of our family and manners and our female gender. If you claim that we have in any way been wronged by us, as you were by our husbands, prescribe us as you did them. But if we women have not voted any of you public enemies, if we did not demolish your houses or destroy your army or lead another army against you, if we have not kept you public office or honor, why should we share the penalties if we have no part in wrongdoing? Why should we pay taxes when we have no part in public office or honors or commands or government in general, and even you have fought over with such disastrous results because you say this is a time of war? And when have there not been wars? And when have women paid taxes? By nature of their sex, women are absolved from paying taxes among all mankind. Our mothers on one occasion long ago were superior to the sex and paid taxes, when your whole government was threatened, and the city itself, when the Carthaginians were pressuring you. They gave willingly, not from their land, or their fields, or their dowry, or their households, without which life would be unlivable for free women, but only from their own jewelry, and not with a fixed price set on it, nor under threat of informers and accusers, or by force, but they gave as much as they themselves chose. Why are you now so anxious about the government or the country? But if there should be a war against the Celts or Parthians, we will be no less eager for our country's welfare than our mothers. But we will never pay taxes for civil wars, and we will not cooperate with you against each other. We did not pay taxes to Caesar or to Pompey, nor Marius asked us for contributions, nor Cinna or nor Sulla, even though he was a tyrant over this country, and you say that you are re-establishing the public? Because of the large crowd present when Hortensia gave her speech, the second triumvirate felt pressured. Only 400 of the 1,400 women had to pay a tax. The second triumvirate raised taxes on landowning men in order to make up for the 1,000 women that were let off on paying the tax. Hortensia presenting the speech was brave. She was trying to reinstate social justice. She stood up to the second triumvirate and saved the land and dowries of many women.